the man from School of Roch, Roch Kubatko. Roch, what a sensational first half for the Baltimore Orioles. Lots of storylines, but you're right there with your finger on a pulse of this team. What's been the biggest surprise so far? What was the biggest surprise in the first half?
Besides you wearing a suit in this heat?
Besides that.
I didn't know you were hosting the Oscars. I would have dressed up more.
No sweat, though. No sweat.
That is impressive. Never.
That's because there's a fan right here.
I think it all starts with the pitching. We've talked a lot about that. Who expected the rotation to be as solid as it has been? When you lose John Means after a couple starts, Bruce Zimmerman started the home opener. That was a great story, the local kid. He's in AAA. You have Kyle Bradish, who came up, struggled some, was injured. He's down in the minors on a rehab assignment. He's supposed to start Sunday, we think, at Norfolk. Grayson Rodriguez was supposed to be here. He strains a lot. And yet this rotation has been much better than we thought. And Tyler Wells is a huge reason for that. And that's another guy. We didn't know how he's going to transition from Rule 5 late inning reliever to starter. And as you said, he's really become the stopper. This is a guy who has been the most consistent starter right now. We had no way of knowing that. We thought he was going to be piggybacking for a lot of the season because they were trying to keep his innings down and ease him through the season. He went 2 years without pitching, remember, before he was a Rule 5 pick. And now he's a guy still on the innings limit, still on pitch counts, but there are times when he goes 6 innings and they pull him back to maybe 4 or 5 because they want to get him through the season without shutting him down. But he has been very, very good. And there was no way you could predict that, how he was going to transition. It's been very smooth. So he's been a huge part of that rotation. And, of course, you look at the bullpen after, Cole Sulser, Tanner Scott are traded. We're thinking, okay, well, then this is a clear message. It's not about 2022. When the bullpen had already been struggling for years, it seemed like, in this rebuild, finishing last in the majors in ERA. They're 4th right now, 4th best, but also the 5th highest amount of innings. So how will they hold up? And how would you have known that Jorge Lopez would have 17 saves and be an all-star?
Yeah.
And Felix Bautista, who struggled a lot with command in the minors. When you walk a lot of guys in the minors, it's even worse usually in the majors. And all of a sudden, he's able to throw strikes. He's become a dominant late-inning guy. Keegan Aiken, confidence, command that we hadn't seen. Obviously, CNL Perez, a dominant left-hander, throwing upper 90s. Brian Baker, the outmaker. Of course, Joey Crable's been big. These are all guys who came off of waivers, and we didn't think would be able to contribute the way they have. Didn't have much of a track record beyond the minors, and collectively they've been very, very good, much better than we were expecting. So it's all about the pitching. That's why this team is in a position it's in right now. The question is, can they hold up?
And you got to be happy with Keegan Aiken is doing to also transform himself as well.
Exactly.
I love that as well. Now, the first half naturally behind us. We're getting ready officially tonight for that unofficial start of the second half.
Right.
What are we looking forward to in the second half?
Can they stay in the wild card race?
Yeah.
First of all, and how weird is that we're talking about a wild card race? I haven't checked the standings since like 2018, maybe, early at 18. So it seems weird to even be looking. I think they're 3.5 back going into tonight. So can they stay in this race? 20 of the first 30 games after the break here against division opponents. We know how tough that's going to be. It's an unforgiving schedule. And yes, the elephant in the room, the trade deadline. How many veterans are going to be peeled off this roster? I know how disappointing that's going to be for fans, for players in the clubhouse, but it is a business, and they are looking beyond 2022, obviously. So if there's a right offer out there for Trey Mancini, for Jordan Lyles, for a couple bullpen arms, including maybe a Lopez and Anthony Santander, if the offer's right, they will make that deal. Now, at the same time, they're not going to be major buyers, but if there's a controllable, let's say, starting pitcher who's under control beyond 2022, maybe through 2023, doesn't have to cost a lot, they could make that move and also add. But mostly there's a chance they're going to be subtracting. So that is that big elephant in the room while we're talking about the wild card race. And then, of course, prospects. Who's coming up? Is it going to be Dale Hall? Yes. But when? Will we see Taron Vavra? Will we see Gunnar Henderson and Jordan Westberg? Will they make another jump? So we'll keep an eye on the prospects as well. Hall starting tonight, by the way, for Norfolk.
Now, a very special tribute tonight here for Scott Foz.
Yeah, Scott Foz, Cardiac Scott. We lost a beloved member of our School of Roch family. We really have become a family. Cardiac Scott, we called him. He was awaiting a heart transplant, regular contributor to the blog, huge Oriole fan, and fans who had never even met him but communicated with him on the blog changed all their avatars to heart symbols to show their support. He was invited to throw out the first pitch before a game in August 2014. Kevin Gosman, his favorite player, caught it. You see all the fans that showed up to root him on. That's where School of Roch Night was born. Right there. Now every year they all gather to go to games together.
Awesome.
And it's just been a beautiful thing. And Scott really was such an important part of that. He's the reason why it was there. He had already had 3 bouts of cancer previously, a rare blood disorder, had the heart transplant, and because life is so cruel, dealt with a tough hand. He was diagnosed with cancer again in June. He passed earlier this week, fortunately in his sleep, peacefully. But, you know, it is heartbreaking, really. And I know he looked frail in those photos, but I'm telling you, that dude was tougher than you and I put together with what he went through.
Yes.
I would add Brett. He doesn't add much. Melanie's a beast in the gym. We'll put her in there as well. Really tough, and just a great, great guy. And there are a lot of really broken hearts. He leaves behind a wonderful wife, Cindy, 26 years together, sons Seth and Brandon. And it's just very sad news to lose him because we really loved him. We're going to miss him. And all of us offer our condolences.
Thanks a lot, man.
Okay.
Roch Kubatko, School of Rock.